Why hello there, travelers and seekers of tales that bring entertainment and amusement to all who hear. It is I, the Lunar Skald, here to offer just such tales for your entertainment, and of course I have one very special one saved up for the end, but to start off, I would like to mention that the stream that I have made in painting my Sororitas Rhino will soon be available on this channel, so I hope you're excited about seeing the process as I am. But for now that I have gotten that bit of news out of the way, why not jump into these amusing tales, shall we? Posted by user Zoffy. This is LFG with boyfriend, but he decides to go solo after getting in a group. Posted this in r/relationship advice and got no response, so I'm crying to the masses. My boyfriend and I have been dying to play as characters for quite some time now. We talked about making an LFG post and what times would work best for us, what kind of game we wanted, and so on. A couple of days ago, he brought up that he found us a group and last night informed me that they are only looking for one player, not two. He told me he would start without me to try to squeeze me in later on, claiming the DM was new and would probably be cool with more people after a few sessions. But we agreed to try and get a more experienced DM. I can't help but feel left out. I would have much rather him wait for me than to start the adventure with me in the dust. I even told him that I hate feeling less knowledgeable than others because of some mental health problems. My whole life I felt dumber than other people. I would have liked to go into just as blind as him, not needing a teacher to play catch-up. I eventually just flat out asked him to not go, which I'm not sure was a good play. We got into a fight last night about it, and I truly feel alone. He doesn't like that I would rather him wait for me, instead of waiting to see if I got the chance of joining later. I went to bed without him, and now he sounds upset. How can I get him to understand that I want to start with him? Telling him directly got me nowhere. TLDR, boyfriend is joining a D&D party without me, with the intent on getting me in later, but I want to start fresh in an adventure at the same time as him. Edit, forgot to mention I have a hectic work schedule because of holidays that affect my job and I'm getting a second job soon. I asked him to wait a couple of times because of this, and he forgot, but since I had time this Tuesday and I don't know when I'll find more work, I was down to make the session to have some fun and meet some people. Edit, the sequel. Someone mentioned I should add this, but we have turned groups that don't work for us or hand down already. Edit the third. I can't keep up with responses, I'm afraid, but I'm going to talk to him today and we'll see what goes down. Thank you guys for all the comments and updates. P.S. Thank you guys for all the kind words. It took a lot to justify my feelings, and I started to feel like the one who was in the wrong. Sorry for venting so much, I just finally feel valid. So, here's basically what I'm thinking about the whole thing. I do understand the feeling of maybe I would really want to get into a campaign after having a bunch of time not being in a D&D campaign. I mean, hell, I have a bunch of free time right now because I haven't been getting a job. Hopefully that will change soon enough because I do have a job fair tomorrow. But anyways, I have been kind of feeling like I need a bit more oomph in my D&D games. And I will admit I did start another one, but it's a bi-weekly campaign, so I'm just kind of home for that one. But my feelings aside, I definitely feel a lot more with the OP in this situation, because after all, you don't really want to just start on later in a campaign. It just kind of feels like you're out of the loop, while other people have to catch you up in things, and that's honestly not really a good feeling to have. And, you know, I do kind of feel like the boyfriend definitely could have waited a little bit longer. I don't really think that it's really fair to your partner when you both have agreed you wanted to be a part of a campaign, and then just for one of those two people to be like, oh hey, I'm gonna start this game without you, but I'll try to fit you in to maybe eventually get you in, but I'm not sure this is gonna be something that'll work. It just doesn't really seem like a full-fledged plan, and you're just basing it off of chance, so I am definitely more on the OP side for this. And I definitely feel like the OP was very valid in what they were feeling, and that considering that they were direct to the boyfriend, I feel like that's really saying something in my opinion, and I really feel like the boyfriend should actually just take more into what the OP is saying. And I also definitely feel the problems that the OP feels when it comes to sort of the feeling like you're in the bad guy in confronting the problem. But that's just kind of something that really everybody has to deal with. Sometimes they really just need to confront what they're feeling to the person who's kind of being the source of the problem, whether they mean it or not, because it's important to let what you're feeling and have that communication, especially in an important relationship, to have that out in the open, because that's the whole point of a relationship, is that you're able to freely communicate. But with that advice out of the way, I hope this helps, and that I'm glad that the OP is feeling valid in how they felt, and that they're working better with how they're dealing with this. Anyways, let's roll post for the next tale, shall we? My friend is getting bullied through his game. Posted by Kishkor. My friend doesn't have Reddit, so I'm posting on his behalf. I DM for him, but the group in question is from another game that he's in. He's basically told me that over the course of this game, he has had 4 characters die. They've only played around 10 to 15 sessions. 2 of the deaths has been at the hands of other players, and since the first 2 deaths, his DM has targeted him every session. His DM has had every enemy in combat focus specifically on this character, refused to let his character roll saving throws, and actively made him re-roll saving throws that he pass, and his DM rolls their death saves, and my friend's character almost always get all fails or a nat 1 every time. Every time he dies or another player kills him, the entire group, including the DM, finds it incredibly funny. He's told the DM that he feels like he's being targeted, and the DM basically told him to grow up because it's funny. When the other players aren't killing him, they're trying to steal his character's things, including someone's lawful good paladin. Every time his character dies or another player messes with him, my friend obviously gets upset, which they find even more funny. My friend is also autistic, and when he told me this, it reminded me of the ways in which kids in high school would bully people they thought of as weird, obviously picking on them, pretending it was a joke, and finding it funny when the subject of their bully gets upset. I really feel bad for my friend. I told him he should never play with that group again after he told me all of this. I'm just focusing now on giving him really good sessions whenever our group plays. Edit, yes. Me and our D&D group all told him to cut ties with these people and not to play with them again, and to distance himself as much as possible from them. He didn't leave at first because he isn't super aware of when people are having fun at his expense, but he's acknowledged he's got to leave and is just looking for support for actually taking those steps. Well, I definitely have to say for the OP of this story, the one who posted, not the subject, we'll get to him later, but I definitely want to commend the poster of this story, because that is really amazing of you to just give all of that support for someone you know is in dire need of it. And now I really feel like it's very necessary to talk about this. You remember how how I mentioned there are situations where the party can in fact be the problem and the DM can in fact be the problem? This is a situation that absolutely is where the rest of the party and the DM is a problem. I know most of my stories have mostly just been about problem players, but now I have an actual story that points out when or one of the situations where everyone else in the group is the problem is when they all gang up and target somebody to basically have fun at that person's expense. And I think there is a quote that definitely matches this situation. When you're making fun of of a person who's in a position of power's expense, that's punching upwards. But when you're making jokes about somebody who's being bullied, that's just punching downwards. And really, it just shows how pathetic these people are, that the only way they could possibly have fun, especially in a hobby that is supposed to be where you're in a cooperative group, and it's that and building a story where you have fun, it shows how absolutely pathetic they are, that the only way they can find fun in a cooperative game is by bullying and targeting one person specifically in their group to have fun instead of, the actual story or the role playing. I mean, hell, even the lawful good paladin getting in on this. I know there are a lot of jokes made about this stereotypical lawful stupid paladin or cleric, but this is just really stupid. This is just absolute bullshit, and there is absolutely no way this should ever possibly be justified. And I am definitely glad that the OP is going to be getting out of this, and that they have a supportive group to be able to help take those steps. As for the problem party and the problem group, I would very much like to say in my own divine name that I certainly hope that through horrifying vengeance, and dare I even bring in the Morrigan for this? Oh well, however, all I hope for is that karma comes knocking at your door and punches all of your teeth out. And then I can go ahead and use them for my own witchly rituals. But anyways, my horrifying little thoughts out of the way. Now, to the story that I hope you've all been waiting for. How to handle a horror story other than the story that we just read. Let's go ahead and see what this is about, but this one's a little bit more special because this story originally came from an Am I the Asshole? So, court is now in session for the divine judge to make their righteous retribution upon whether this be a heretic asshole or not. Let us begin. OP handles a horror story appropriately. Ex-post, not mine. Cross-posted by Sourplex. The original poster for the Am I the Asshole posting is named User Trix E Tang. I love that. Original post named Am I the Asshole for Killing a PC? Hey, so I'm not sure if this is the right sub to post this, but I'm not sure where else to ask. I was DMing for a party of 4. They're all men, I'm not, and we are all in our early mid-20s. Last time we got together, the party was following a woman around town because she was acting strange. They follow her into her house, and then is when everything happened. A player of mine tried to rape her. Oh god. Like, he literally said those words. I didn't really know how to react, so I just laughed and said, no? But he kept insisting, so I let him roll for it. Here's where maybe I fucked up. As he was rolling, before he even told me what he got, I started to describe what was basically a dragon attack. The dragon burned the house down and most of the party got to escape. Except for this asshole, whom the dragon grabbed in his claws and flew away with, never to be seen again. The player got pissed, said I was being unfair, that the dragon attack didn't make any sense in the context of the story, that he should be able to try and fight it, that I should have given him an action to take cover, etc. blah blah blah. I just told him he would not be rolling another character because I don't want him in my party anymore and asked him to leave. After the fact, another member of the party texted me, said that maybe I was being a little too unforgiving, that I should give the problem player a chance to learn the lesson and prove himself, that we have been playing for months and this is the first time anything like this has happened. All of this is true, and I do think he kind of has a point, but then I remember this dude tried to rape someone, so I don't really know what to do now. Am I the asshole? TLDR, dragon flies away with a rapist, and apparently that wasn't very nice of me. Oh, well, I do have some judgments to make, but it most certainly is not on the OP, if I'm being perfectly honest. If I'm being truthful, I most certainly don't think there is any action that isn't justified on a rapist. You can basically do whatever you want with them, and I simply do not care, because the entire act of rape is specifically to inflict a traumatic experience on someone for a non-consensual act, and completely at the victim's expense. So because of that, I have absolutely no sympathy whatsoever for the rapist player. At all. Period. End of story. So my judgment for that heretic specifically is that they be given unto, let's see, the full force of the Holy Trinity of the firing squad, fired by, let's say, maybe a charging lance squad, and impaled on each and every single one of them. Yes, I believe that will satisfy me very heartily. But as for the OP, since they are the one on trial, I would say that there are definitely ways that this could be better handled. Specifically being that you don't allow the person to roll for something no matter how much they insist if you are not okay with a certain action, such as committing rape, shall we say. Now, it felt like this was perhaps maybe a new DM, or that the DM just never encountered something like this. And the OP did in fact say that, no, I would not like for that to happen. And the fact that Mr. Rapey thought it was okay to continue insisting, even though the DM was most certainly not okay with it, and specified that they were not comfortable with this, that definitely goes to show, okay, I gave you a chance to say no, but it should have also just stopped there, really. If you're not okay with a certain action, and it's for something like this, where it's clearly making you uncomfortable, then just say no. That's simple as that. And, but yeah. Although I definitely think that the dragon coming out of nowhere definitely could be seen as a sort of a bad sign of a bad DM. In this particular case, how can I possibly hate something like that? Well, I mean, I probably could have hoped for a little bit more on gory detail. Perhaps maybe, what happened to the two in Vox Machina, where they just get dropped onto a very sharp stone, maybe get breathed on by lightning breath or something like that. Either of those would have been much more preferable results, but what we got is something that will most certainly do. So, my judgment for the OP would be that you are a righteous servant of the God Emperor. And so, with that, we will end this video for today. And I hope you enjoyed the stories that came along, as well as a few results here and there. And with that, we'll just go ahead and end the video. So, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give that like button a wonderful praise. And that you subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And until the next time, may the lunar aura embrace you in its loving and gentle light. Farewell.